Hey guys, Scott back again with new beer dissection video. Another one from Ommegang Brewery, which is out of Cooperstown, New York. I think I saw somewhere that it was also, they got maybe a brewery in Kansas City, Missouri. I've always known them for being from Cooperstown. Similar to Allagash outside of Portland, Maine. They've been known for a lot of their Belgian-style beers. Depending on when you're watching this video, I've recently done a video on their Belgian Golden Strong Ale. Their classic Three Philosophers is up on my beer dissection page. And there's probably another one from Ommegang that I've done. Coincidentally, my wife actually picked this one up. We have today is from Ommegang Neon Rainbows. It's their New England IPA. Okay, I may have it spinning over my shoulder, or at least, if not spinning, at least some pictures to kind of get an idea of the can. This is coming at 6.7% alcohol. It says New England style IPA, hazy, juicy. You know a lot of the synonymous terms. They are very forthcoming with the hops that they're using. Citra, Centennial, Simcoe, Mosaic, and Topaz. They even have a crazy IPA meter. This may not be popped up on the screen, but an IPA meter signifying the haze level, the bitterness, and the aroma. Now remember with New England IPAs, I don't know if I've done a what is style New England IPA. I know I've done one on basic IPA. Remember, New England IPAs are going to be, and we call them hazy or juicies, typically are going to, in the grist, they're going to use some pale, two-row malt, maybe Pilsner malt. A lot of times they're using oats or unmalted wheat. Has more protein in it. It helps contribute with the superfluous hops matter that's in there, the polyphenols, to create that hazy effect. A lot of times these New England IPAs too are going to have lower bitterness, maybe low to moderate bitterness, versus say a West Coast IPA, which will have more pronounced bitterness, maybe an assertive bitterness. And usually that beer is a little bit clearer, and that uses a lot of times some type of crystal malt to give it a little bit more of like an amber or copper hue. These are usually looking very pale white to at the very most straw color. So just a little background on that. We know a lot of the big New England breweries, Hills Farmstead, The Alchemist, a few others. But again, you don't have to be in New England to be brewing these beers. But I just thought I'd just talk a little bit about the style and what we usually expect from the style, especially if you're kind of newer to beer and not really know the difference between, say, New England IPA, West Coast IPA, American IPA. I do have a video on that somewhere on my page. It's probably either under General Beer Talks and things like that, or under maybe one of my beer dissections or what is styles. I may have talked more about it. So I said this is at 6.7% alcohol, and that's pretty much it. Kind of a snazzy rainbow can here. It says the Ommegang OMG series, okay? And if I didn't mention it earlier, we actually found this in Costco, as well as one of the other ones I just reviewed, their Belgian Golden Strong Ale, in 4-packs, like you'd get at your typical local beer store. So that was kind of nice. My wife picked them up, so couldn't even tell you if they're still somewhere in that $20 range. I have a feeling they're a little cheaper because they're at Costco, buying it in bulk. But anyway, the New England style IPA brewery, Ommegang. Let's get to it. Neon Rainbows. Let's see what this beer is all about. I'm just using a typical tulip pint glass. Something like this. I usually have something a little more flared out at the bottom. I like to use and stemmed. You get a little more surface area. It allows the aromatics of the hops to kind of funnel up to the top. You may have seen me on my channel if you watched more than 2 or 3 videos. I typically have this stem glass with a kind of a tulip shape at the top. Right now, this one's clean, so that's why I'm using that tonight. All right, so let's crack this bad boy open. Okay, and this is the bigger cans, of course, so it's around 16 ounces. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of pour it about halfway, maybe a little bit beyond halfway. Take a look at it. So, I'm pouring more aggressively these days. So I'm still getting, kind of more, I usually want about 1 to 2 inches, maybe 3 inches ahead. I got about 4 inches. That's more my pouring, not the beer itself. Kind of a light tan to white color, pretty tight bubbles, looks pretty nice. The color of this, we kind of got that light gold to medium gold color. I was expecting to be a little more straw, but that's not a knock to the beer, that's just the way it is. You kind of get the haze, okay, but not as opaque as a lot of New England IPAs I get, but there is definitely some haze there, maybe even just some specific chill haze. But for the most part, nothing to knock the beer about. They all range from straw to gold for the most part. And they're all sitting, anywhere sometimes as low as sometimes 5.5% alcohol to 6 to 9%, or sometimes even 10%. So New England IPA has a big spectrum on BJCP. I'm a little rusty on the specific numbers. I want to say 6 to 9% alcohol is within style guidelines, but it's kind of the wild, wild west with IPAs these days, especially New England IPAs or hazies. These guys are just brewing these big beers. It's almost like the consumer is like overdoing it, demanding like New England IPA, hazy IPAs. I almost get tired sometimes on this channel. I do so many New England hazy, juicy IPAs that I'm kind of sick of them at times. So let's take a sniff of this before I lose the aroma. Okay, so yeah, so you got that typical grapefruit, citrus grapefruit on the nose. Maybe a little white grape. Pretty nice though, Maybe like a little tropical fruit, like kind of like a little mango, peach. Even though peach I don't necessarily call a tropical fruit, but a little stone fruit there. Okay, but pretty pleasant. The grapefruit doesn't smack you in the face like a lot of New England IPAs do. It is kind of, a little more subdued, but very, very nice, very pronounced on the aroma, on the nose. Okay, on the malt, as we would expect, at the very most you kind of get, white bread, cracker, maybe light toast on there, very light. I mean, you can even tell by the color. It's a little darker than a lot of New England IPAs, but it is still fairly light. All right, guys, so let's take a swig of this. Let me talk about the carbonation first. It's actually low to moderate carbonation. I actually was expecting a little bit more. Kind of medium bodied, pretty, that kind of medium mouthfeel, like maybe even medium to medium high mouthfeel, because it was a little bit thick on the palate. I'm getting that slight, actually it's more pineapple on the taste. Like when I say tropical fruit before, instead of mango, a little more pineapple on the taste buds here. There is some citrus. Maybe a subtle grapefruit. I think I got more grapefruit on the nose than I am getting on the palate. Malt, same thing, kind of maybe biscuit top at the very most. Cracker, rich cracker kind of malt profile on this. I'm not getting an alcoholic warmth, which I usually wouldn't get at 6.7%. I don't want to split hairs. Usually 7.5 to 8%. I usually start getting dialed into if there was any alcoholic warmth to this. You almost get this creaminess. Contributing to the mouthfeel. On the aftertaste, I'm kind of getting a little bit of that dank, pithy, I don't want to say there's no pith on pineapple, but like a grapefruit pineapple kind of taste to it, which is not unpleasant. It's actually, what I've tasted many times. Sometimes that dank, with Simcoe hops, you get something like the dank, or even like it sounds unpleasant, but like a cat pee type of smell and taste to it. I didn't get it on the nose. Let me smell again. No, I don't really get it on the nose, but sometimes you get that cat urine kind of smell to it. Again, you'd be like, Scott, what are you talking about, cat urine? That's horrible, but believe it or not, it's actually quite pleasant if you use it in the right way. But Simcoe hop sometimes gives that to me and others. Pretty easy drinking for something sitting just below 7%. But again, you get that pineapple grapefruit medley going on. Medium bodied. This is, you know, this is a type of New England IPA, even though we're still sitting below like 8%, because some of these guys, they grab their IPA like, oh, I got 8%, I got 8.5, mine's 8.8, you know, and they go, it's like a competition. This drink's a little bit lighter than at 6.7% alcohol. You know, they said they had Centennial in there. I think I said that. Centennial. I don't get any pine or anything from this. You know, maybe someone would argue with me slightly. It's more fruit. It's more citrus, more tropical fruit. And if not, maybe, you know, if you don't want to go tropical fruit, maybe a little stone fruit, like kind of peach. But very nice. Like I said, the malt profile, like I said, is that biscuit top cracker. You know, the only thing I would say, the only knock I would give it is, let me just taste it one more time. While I'm on that, it's got that moderate bitterness. It's probably, they don't give me the IBU units. It's probably sitting at typical New England IPA 30 to 40-ish IBUs. It's a very easy drinking. So if you don't like a lot of, you know, quote unquote hoppy beers, I hate saying hoppy, but bitter beers in the sense, and not the bitter beers of Keystone Light of the 1980s, but that bitterness that sometimes overtakes some other beers, you would probably like this. It's kind of very fruit dominant, pretty enjoyable. I mean, I'm not, you know, New England IPA is not my number one go-to beer, but I think every beer has a time and place for it. But this is actually, you know, pretty good. Let me just take another quick little swig of this before I let you guys go. Yeah, but again, I still get that little white grape pineapple. Now that one has a little bit more carbonic bite to it. But again, very pleasant. Little creaminess. You got that enough mouthfeel there that's, I don't want to call the beer chewy, like you're talking about like a sweet stout or imperial stout. But pretty good. And very fresh too. I didn't even check the bottom of the can. Of course, it's all probably a Costco. It's packaged for Costco, so I don't see a canning date on there, or I'm not going to spend the time. I'll check on another can if I don't see it here. A canning date, but it does taste pretty fresh. I don't really. Sometimes with these New England IPAs, if they're aging out, they start turning like this beigey to browny, like murky looking color. I don't get that with this. So, guys, in the world of New England IPAs, or let's just say overall drinkability, like I've been trying to do now with my ratings, just overall enjoyability, drinkability of this beer, I would give it a good solid B+. It really is I'm really enjoying it, and I'll enjoy the rest of this can. In the world of New England IPAs, only because it's so hard to compare them, because there's so many great ones out there, that I'd probably just bring it down, instead of being B+, maybe down to a B-. Okay, but I wouldn't argue with anyone that, you know, chimed in on the bottom of my YouTube channel here or Facebook saying, oh no, that beer was so good, because it really, I am enjoying it. It's just, I always want to give a little wiggle room with some of these other IPAs, New England IPAs out there, because there's just so many of them. So I give a little wiggle room to rate them a little bit higher. So anyway, guys, a little bit about the Ommegang from, again, they're in Cooperstown, New York, I know. I didn't realize they're also maybe a brewery in Kansas City, Missouri. But Neon Rainbows from Ommegang, they're a New England IPA. Pretty nice. If you see this, especially if you have a Costco that has them or carrying them, I would pick it up. And this one's pretty fresh. So it actually says, thankfully it says, keep it cold, drink it fresh. Unfiltered, double dry hopped. Okay. So anyway, I would recommend it for you all. Okay. Till the next beer dissection video, guys, have a great night. Take care. Bye-bye.